it's not really about motivation. It's about being able to find joy in the process, even when things are hard, and being able to reframe the way you think about challenges, obstacles altogether. So when you're in the midst of that challenge or obstacle, it's difficult, it's hard, but there's also a lot of joy in it and a lot of creativity and a lot of discovery and learning. And ultimately, it's those moments that make us stronger.
Welcome to the Honor It podcast, where we live life in the game, not on the sidelines. I'm your host, Honor Garrett, and today we're here to honor you by delving into inspiring stories of setbacks to comebacks with top experts, entrepreneurs, creators, trailblazers, and pro athletes who are making a difference, impacting lives, and creating positive change. My passion is to inspire women to thrive and build a life and legacy they love no matter what their age is. So let's dive in. Today, I am so excited for our guest. Meet spirited Caitlin Bacher, a devoted wife, mother, and the dynamic CEO of Scale with Success. From a diligent kindergarten teacher to a seven-figure online course creator, her journey is a testament to tenacity. 6 years ago, trapped in an exhausting launch cycle, she devised her unique method to transform her business without live launching. Today, Caitlin shares her groundbreaking approach with course creators worldwide, guiding them towards profitable, predictable, and sustainable business growth. Welcome, Caitlin. How are you today?
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here.
Well, I am so excited to have you, and I can't wait to pick your brain. So let's just dive in if you're ready.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so Caitlin, you transitioned from being a kindergarten teacher to running a seven-figure successful online course business. What advice would you give women everywhere, but even especially my audience in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, looking to pivot their careers and dive into new ventures, especially when they might be feeling like they're a little too old and it's too late for them?
Yeah, I totally get that. And the funny thing is that I didn't really start my business until I was 35. And I remember reading all of these articles, even in my late 20s or early 30s, that said, if you don't make $1 million by the time you're 30, the chances are you'll never do it. And I always found that so demotivating. But nevertheless, I felt like I was in a position where I wanted to do something new. And I think that for a lot of women, when they want to have a pivot in their career, sometimes they think it has to be an all or nothing thing. But for me, it was a little bit more gradual. Yes, I was a teacher, public school, 8 years, mostly kindergarten, although I did teach sixth grade for a year and it was fun. But what happened is I started to take on more outside responsibilities, like helping out with the school's blog, helping out with their social media, things like that, because I was always interested in marketing, right? And so I did that just to explore it, see how it was, and I really enjoyed it. Then I got pregnant and I decided to take some time off from teaching. And in my head, I thought, you know what? Okay, now I'm just going to be a stay-at-home mom for a while and da da da. And that didn't go so well. I was like, you know what? I really need to do something else here. And so I had a friend and she was starting her own interior design business. And I thought, this is a perfect opportunity for me to practice my social media skills. So I asked her, hey, can I help you out with this for free? Because I didn't have the qualifications on paper to be a social media associate, to go work at a corporate job, something in social media and marketing. So I was like, let me just help you. Let's see how it goes. So I did that for a while, was able to get some traction for her. And so then I just started over time pitching myself to other people. And each time I would do that, I would charge a little bit more for my social media management services. And after I did that for a while, I still felt like I was in that trading time for money position. And so I decided, you know what? I think I'm going to experiment with some one on one consulting. So I moved into one on one consulting for social media. And then I was like, I'm literally telling everyone on these calls the exact same thing. Why don't I just put this information into a course? And so my first course was all about social media marketing, but that's because it was something that one, I was really passionate about, and two, it was something that I had direct experience doing. And the takeaway that I want people to have from that story is the journey from A to B is never linear. And sometimes you just have to start taking action and start trying something in order to figure out what it is that you actually want to do. Some people have this idea in their head, oh, I want to make a course. I want to create a group coaching program, or I want to be a one-on-one coach, or whatever it is that they want to do. But they're like, but I have to have it all figured out now. And I have to pick the right niche and do the right thing. But not really. You can always just change your mind.
Exactly. I have four grown kids. So three girls, 22, 25, 28, and then a son, 29. So they all too got out of school going, I don't know what I want to do. And they think their first job has to be the job. And I'm like, no, you're going to figure it out and you're going to change your mind. My oldest son is a teacher in Harlem, a seventh grade teacher in Harlem in New York. And then I have a daughter outside of Charleston where she is a second grade teacher. And I think they love what they do, but it's frustrating. It was hard. And they were going through COVID when they were first starting to teach. And they're so talented. And I just love to encourage people that you could make so much more money. And I don't mean it for the money part. You could impact so many more people if you created your own course.
Yeah.
So how does your course help with that? Do you help people from A to Z?
Yeah. So, one of the things that we start out with is the very first lesson inside of our program is really helping people get clear on their offer. Because when people are coming to us, what makes our program so different is that we're really helping people get out of the launch cycle and into something evergreen. And for those that are wondering, evergreen, basically what it means is that you're selling your course 24/7. So you're not doing like an open and closed launch. You are selling your course every day, bringing in revenue every day. So the reason why we start off with creating an offer is because in order to create an evergreen offer that is built to scale over time, you really have to make sure that you are structuring it in the right way. Because what happens for a lot of people is they get stuck in the launch cycle because they're used to just selling to warm people. So they have an audience, they launch a product or program, they get some sales, they're like, wow, this is awesome. Maybe they launch it again, maybe they get a little bit more sales because everyone went through the first launch cycle, so they're going through it again. And then after a while, it just gets stagnant. And so at that point, for a lot of people, they're thinking to themselves, oh my gosh, my audience is burnt out on this. I guess I have to create a new program, or I guess I have to create a next level offer, or a cheaper offer, or this or that. And you're right. If your audience is not growing, then you will need to do that. But what we help people do is to hone in on one signature program and really structure it in a way that gives that great experience to all of your students, but really communicating the value of that offer in a way that makes people want to take action right now. Because if it's evergreen, the last thing you want someone to do is to say, oh, maybe I'll do that later. Maybe I'll do this, that, right? And a lot of times when that happens, sometimes it's just not the right time. So that does actually happen. But in other cases, it's just you haven't been able to articulate the value of that offer and ensure that they're understanding it's the exact thing that they need right now. And selling and marketing your program on an evergreen basis really does have its own unique set of challenges. And a lot of people come to us because sometimes they sign up for like a launch course or a launch program. And sometimes the launch course or program will have one lesson on, and here's how to automate your launch, or here's how to evergreen this or that, right? And the reality is that's just not enough. And if you're just automating your launch, then you're missing out on the entire system that you'll need to actually selling evergreen, because the buyer's journey, it's just a totally different process, right? Like really think about it. Like if you're launching, everyone's consuming the exact same thing at the exact same time. It's very linear, but in an evergreen sales and marketing system, it's just totally different. It's a lot more cyclical.
So there's an art to messaging that's going to make people want to do this automated evergreen type of course, and that's your expertise.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it takes time. And I think the ultimate goal is to be able to create this kind of golden thread that goes between your offer, your marketing, your sales, your offer, your marketing, sales, offer, marketing, and it's just all connected. And it takes time to actually hone that golden thread, because at the beginning, it's not a golden thread. It's like an old burlap rope. It's just frayed, it's frizzy, it's all over the place. And again, it's all about taking action with what you have now and then really learning and optimizing as you grow, and not putting yourself in a place where you're setting this expectation of, I have to decide everything that I'm going to do right now, or I have to get my message right from the beginning. Because let me tell you, even if you think you have a great message, even if you're like, I have nailed my message, Caitlin, and da da da, I got to tell you that once you start selling it evergreen, 3 months from now, you're going to look back on the message you have now and you're going to be like, what in the world was I thinking? My message is so much better now. And you're going to feel so much better about it. But the only way you get there is by taking action and beginning the process, and really be willing to make all of the mistakes that you'll need to make in order to learn and grow.
Okay, so for those of you in my audience that want clarity, launching is when you have a program and you're really excited and you go live. Maybe you do a 5-day workshop, maybe you do a 3-day workshop, and you try to get everyone into a cohort to do this live workshop or your program. And you have to continue to do that over and over to gain more people. And then the evergreen, which Caitlin does, is something that she takes her expertise and she packages it so perfectly that it's simple, people understand it, they gain value from it, and they can create the same thing and have it on autopilot. So she's making money while she sleeps. That is the evergreen. My question is, if someone's interested in doing that, do you do ads, and can it be organic, or must it be ads to scale?
So that's a great question. And it's always hard because people say, Caitlin, you're doing ads now. Like I see you doing ads, da da da. And yeah, it's true. But the things that got me to 1 million are not the things that are getting me far past that. And so what I want for everyone to understand is that I strongly believe that the best way to get your course off the ground is through organic methods. And there's no reason why you can't be making 10K plus months on autopilot from your course without using any ads at all. And that's just through organic strategies. Now, what happens for a lot of people is they start ads too early. And if you're not able to generate 10K months from your organic strategy, then once you put ads on that, it's going to amplify what's not working. So a lot of times people think, okay, some people like this post and some people bought my offer, so now I'm just going to start putting money on ads. But you need to think long term. And I don't know everyone's financial situations. If you have money to burn, if you're just like sitting on a pile of cash to burn through and make mistakes fast, and you can handle spending 10K per month, 20K per month, whatever it is on ads and making no return for a while, then yeah, go ahead, do that and figure it out. But for most people, they're bootstrapping their business.
Mhm.
They don't have outside investments coming in, right? They're funding it, their business growth with the sales that they're making from their program. And so it's really important that you start off organic, you get traction, and then once you put ads on that, if you're getting 10K months from organic traffic, then you can start to add in ads and you can pretty quickly get to 100K months, but you're going to have to do a few tweaks to your funnel as well, because sometimes people have this idea in their head, oh, all I have to do is like switch on the ads and then I become a millionaire. And it's not really like that. You got to add some other things in there too, just to mitigate your risk.
Well, shifting a little bit, being an entrepreneur, obviously we know it's a roller coaster ride. Sometimes it feels like a trolley ride that's not going anywhere. Yeah. And so how do you stay motivated? There are times where you just wanted to quit, where there are times where it was hard to figure it out, or were you just so determined you were going to figure it out?
Yeah. So that's such a good question. And I honestly think it's something people don't talk about enough, or maybe we do talk about it, but those aren't the posts that really get the most traction. It's the posts where you're saying everything's going great. And then the posts where you're like, things are not going so great. Those don't really get traction. But I think it's completely normal for things to feel hard at times. And what people ask me all the time, how do you stay motivated or how do you keep going? And for me, it's not really about motivation. It's about being able to find joy in the process, even when things are hard, and being able to reframe the way you think about challenges, obstacles altogether. So when you're in the midst of that challenge or obstacle, it's difficult, it's hard, but there's also a lot of joy in it and a lot of creativity and a lot of discovery and learning. And ultimately, it's those moments that make us stronger. So every time you're faced with a new challenge or a new obstacle, it's really nothing more than an opportunity for you to get stronger. And if you're never met with any challenges or any obstacles, then you're never going to grow. You're never going to get better. And if we can reframe that as every time you start to encounter an obstacle or a challenge, the first thought in your head is, oh, here we go. Can you get excited? Because you're like, what's going to happen next? What am I going to learn now? What's my reflection going to be 3 months from now as I look back on this situation? What is the new story that I'm going to have to tell? Because you are the hero of your own story. And if you let yourself feel like your fate is in the hands of someone else, or you don't really have a say in it, then that is going to feel very defeating. And listen, it's hard to find joy in the process sometimes. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that sometimes I don't just lay on the bed like a starfish. Oh my gosh, this is just really hard. You got to rest, you got to recharge. But if you can find it within yourself and build a team around you full of people who have that same mindset of, all right, here we go. How are we going to pull together? What are we going to discover here? What's the first thing that we're going to experiment with? When you have that, it makes things a lot more fun. But I love the trolley analogy because, yes, that is exactly what it is. Like a trolley versus a train. And then sometimes you look around when you feel like you're on that trolley. And a lot of times, because of the way our minds work, you may just see everyone that's doing well. And so, why in the world am I on this trolley? Is it me? Am I the problem? But what you're not seeing is that even someone who's driving like a bullet train, they still have problems in their business and they're still going through it, right? If you can't handle $100 problem or $1,000 problem, then you're never going to be strong enough to handle $100,000 problem or $1,000,000 problem. So it's all just stepping stones really to your success.
Well, I have a mission just for women in general, especially older women, to know that it's never too late and you're never too old to make an impact. If I have a breath and I'm still here, then God's got work for me to do. So that's really my philosophy. So what would you tell an older, more mature person like me in their late 50s
Mhm.
who wants to make an impact, but they're like, is it too late? Can I really learn this? Especially with technology, and they don't feel comfortable with it being an evergreen type of course. How do you get to know your actual clients?
So here's what I would say. If you tell me you're just not good with technology, I will ask you, do you know how to use a microwave? Do you know how to drive a car? Do you know how to use a calculator? Because the reality is that everything is hard the first time if we don't know how to do it, right? And so instead of seeing yourself as someone who maybe isn't good with technology, why not then see yourself as someone who is capable of learning new things, who may not know something at the beginning, but you're capable of learning something new. And the way that software is created now, at least the stuff that we're recommending, all of the onboarding is so incredible. Everything is so step by step. So if you're creating a new email list or a new video thing, there's so much AI and everything now. You can just go through whatever their support documents are or their help thing, or you don't know if you're talking to a person or a robot, but they're literally walking you through everything and they're telling you exactly what to do. So it's not as hard as it used to be. Even something simple like live streaming software, like when they first created live streaming software, I don't know, was it 10 years ago or 5 years ago? It was so complex and it was so hard, and you had to know a little bit of coding and all of that. But now you just press a button. It's just so much easier. And so if you find yourself in a position where you feel like, oh, I don't know, like that just this part sounds hard. Well, it might be hard, but you're also capable of learning. Think about it. When you had kids, did you know how to take care of a baby? I had never changed a diaper before when like after I had.
That's true.
So we are capable of learning new things.
So tell me specifically a little bit about your course for the audience. Who is it specifically for, and how does it help them?
So, our course, Scale with Success Accelerator, is designed to help you build a profitable sales engine in 30 days. And so, we have two kinds of people that are coming to us. Number one, we have people who are coming to us who have a course that they have sold before and they are looking for a way to generate more money and to really open themselves up to be able to generate revenue in their business 24/7, right? We have another group of people that come to us where they're like, I have this idea for a course. Maybe it's their first course, maybe it's their next course that they're going to create. They're like, I have this idea and I have this thing that I'm really good at and I've helped people with before, but my course isn't done yet. And so both people, no matter what camp they're in, we always start them out with phase one, which is all about creating your irresistible evergreen offer. Because if you're just in the beginning stages of figuring out what you want to put in your course, then you need to get really clear on what the promise of the course is going to be. What is the positioning going to be? What is the pricing going to be? And all of that, which is what we really cover in that first part, right? And then the people who already have a course, they may have a course, but it hasn't been selling well evergreen, or if they have been selling it, maybe they're selling it launching. And so there are some tweaks and things that we need to change with it. So it's really important, no matter what, everyone start off inside of phase one. And then what they do throughout the program is they create their course, they build out the profitable sales engine, and then they have a way to generate money for their business 24/7. And if you're just starting out in business, that's really key. Figuring out what can you do to create a consistent flow of revenue so that you can really start to create that traction, right? So it's not like when you're launching, you work really hard, you build a whole bunch of interest or excitement, but then the launch ends And so does all of the interest and excitement that you've been generating. And so we want to set you up, especially if you're new at this, to really start generating momentum, getting traction so that things snowball for you in a good way.
That's great. And I believe in having multiple streams of income.
Mm,
So honestly, even if you're one of those people that loves to live launch and
yes.
likes to be in front of the camera, it would also be nice to have other money just coming in
Oh, yeah.
automatically so it can actually help fund you to do bigger things in person or have retreats or be on stages, the things that you want to do. So now that you're a successful entrepreneur, how do you envision your legacy? Or what's your journey? What do you envision for the future? And what do you want to leave behind, really, even for your kid?
Yeah. I think that when I think about my daughter, the one thing that I really want for her to know is that there's always a way. There's always a workaround. There's always a way through. You might need to ask for help. You might not be able to work it through all by yourself like a big superhero, but there's always a way to get to where you want to go. And one of the things that my dad taught my sister and I from a very early age is that can't is not a word in our vocabulary. And he used to tell us that when we were little to the so much, right? We'd say, Dad, I can't do this. And he'd be like, can't, it's not a word in my vocabulary. And then he got to a point where one time my sister got into an argument with her second grade teacher because her teacher had can't on the spelling list. And my sister said, that's not a word. Like she was taking advice for it. And the teacher was like, yes, it is. No, it's not a word in our vocabulary. And so regardless, my purpose in life is to really help people go from why they can't to how they can. And there's always a million reasons why you can't do something. And it's really my purpose in life to help people, number one, get clear on what it is that they actually want. But number two, come up with a plan or a strategy that can help you get there.
That's beautiful. So, and my mind's churning because I'm trying to figure out how to systemize some of my programs. Do you go through everything from these are the funnels that you need and this is the CRM you need? And if anybody doesn't understand what I'm talking about, that's the great thing. If that's what you're teaching, you will learn it all, correct?
Yeah, exactly. We do cover all of that. And our accelerator program is really the starting point because we do open up a mastermind for our accelerator clients where I can work even more closely with people. And then they're really able to figure out, okay, I have these other products I want to sell. How do I decide what to launch and what to evergreen? Or maybe they want to do it all evergreen, or maybe they want to do this or that. But getting with the accelerator program, what it is really focusing on one program and getting that automated. And then later on, if you want to automate other stuff too, you can definitely do that.
Awesome. Well, are there any success stories just off the top of your head that you can
Oh my
think
gosh.
of?
There's so many. Everyone should go to my Instagram and look at in the highlights section. I have a results section.
Oh, okay.
And it's incredible what these women have done. These are women who are just everyday people. They're not born great marketers or anything like that. And step by step, bit by bit, they're able to build these six-figure and in some cases, seven-figure, and in some cases, multi-seven-figure businesses just by putting one foot in front of the other and just by continuing to move forward, even when you feel like a trolley going.
Well, I have a question. As a mom, you're always thinking about your children.
Mhm.
So, could someone who has a full time job as a teacher somehow come up with an idea and do this on the side and then automate it? Now, obviously, it's going to take some work up front,
Oh, yeah.
but to actually have that. So, maybe at some point, if they wanted to do something different, they could.
Yeah. There's no one right path or no one right way to do something, right? And so, whatever we have lots of people join us who are not full time in their business at all. They're just regular people who don't own a business but are interested in getting into this whole course creation thing, starting a course, automating sales of it. And I think sometimes it can feel overwhelming to think about, I don't know if I'm ready for $1 million. It's when you first start working out. And so you go to the gym and you're like, I don't want to get too big. I don't want my muscles to get too big. And the
Don't.
trainer's looking at you like, okay, listen, lady, you're like, let's just get consistent first. And so it's the same thing with business. Like, you don't have to worry about being or fearful of making $1 million. Let's get to some 2K months first. Let's get to some 5K months. You're the one turning the faucet. So you get to control how high you go and you get to determine the pace that you get there. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't have to be 0 to 100. And there's no reason why you can't have your full-time job and do this on the side so that even you can transition into retirement. We have a ton of people that start doing this because they know in a few years they're looking to retire from their day job. And so they want to start doing something on the side now that can take them through.
That's great. And I love working with people trying to figure out what they want to do and they don't even know what they're good at. And I'm like, you trust me, you've lived 40, 50, 60 years, you're good at something and we can figure it out. I always tell people you only need to be a few steps ahead of the people you serve because you've been there, you've done that, and you can be of value to those who need you.
Yeah.
So
and a lot of times people really want to work with someone a few steps ahead of them. People don't want to work with someone who is perfect and never had to struggle and was just born naturally great at everything, right? They want to work with someone who has been where they were once before and who knows how to solve that specific problem and get to where they want to go.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you just explaining a little bit about what you do. I have two more questions. One is when something's automated, like what you do, how do you keep it updated? Because times change and new things come about. Do you make adjustments or additional resources, or how do you keep it current?
Sometimes it's not about adding more to a program or adding additional resources. Sometimes it's just about changing the way that you talk about it. So, because the market is always shifting. And what I see a lot of people do is they'll be selling a course, and maybe they've even been selling it for a year or two, but they haven't changed the way that they're talking about the course. So, their program, it's their course itself, is still incredibly relevant and valuable, but they need to change the way they're talking about it because they used to be meeting their audience where they were, but now their audience is way over here and they're not listening because you're not saying the right message for them. And it is important to stay connected with your market, stay connected with kind of what's going on in the world. So you can make sure, even if you have your signature program and it's great and da 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 da, you still have to be shifting your message for sales and marketing to make sure that it's really connecting with the right people.
And do you have a resource or Facebook group or where people can connect with you?
Oh, yeah. So I have a free masterclass. That's the most valuable free thing that we offer, our free masterclass. And that's at CaitlinBacher.com/masterclass. But I also have a podcast. It's called Scale with Success, the podcast. And you can find that on my website, also just CaitlinBacher.com. And in that podcast is really where I'm talking about the trials and tribulations of growing a multi-million-dollar online course business.
Oh, great. Well, and all of your information I'll have in the show notes so people can get that information if you want to connect with Caitlin. And I ask every guest on my podcast, this is the Honor It podcast. So what are you choosing to honor today?
You know what? Today I choose to honor my grandmother because she was a woman who was always able to find joy and laughter, even when things were really, really hard. And that's who I honor today. That's who I'm going to honor.
That's wonderful. Well, and if you feel connected to Caitlin and you want to reach out, please do. She does have a great masterclass. I've been through it. And so thank you, Caitlin. I really appreciate you sharing your journey, your wisdom with our audience today.
Thank you.
And until next time, remember, you are not promised tomorrow, so be present today. It's a gift, and take time to honor it all.